So there's something I wanted to share, and it's my observation. So what I have observed over time in history is that the addicts in our life, and I'm thinking specifically about alcoholics and gaming addicts, tend to be struggling with something in particular. If they're a guy, it may be some element of their manhood. And there seems to be this tendency to be someone who is emotionally sensitive. And I hate to be trite, like quite a beautiful person in there. They're just really wrestling with something and they've been avoiding it. The why is the big question. Why are they doing what they're doing? So there's a big question mark in there. Um, and I'll go one step further and say, it's my personal belief that addicts are in the category of what I call a Nazarite. There's a special purpose for their life, and they have to get to the point where they realize that there's certain things they just can't do if they're gonna live the life that they're intended to, if they're gonna live to their up to being their best self. Um, if they're gonna live the life that God intended for them, it's gonna be in a more narrow lane, a higher road than the rest of us in some ways. And they're avoiding all that. So I just wanted to say that's my observation. I'm confirmed with lots of cases, lots of people, and generally the males in the crowd. So let's do February 6th. By the time I reached Al-Anon, I was desperate to do something about my relationship with an addict. I hoped that you would tell me to throw the bum out. So I was dismayed when a member suggested that I make no major changes for 6 months after coming to Al Anon. By the end of 6 months, my thinking had changed dramatically, and I was grateful to have waited. At that point, something inside of me told me to continue to wait, to learn, to recover before deciding about this relationship. But I hate to wait. I struggled, prayed for guidance, weighed the pros and cons. The answer was always the same: wait, do nothing yet. The time will come. That wasn't the answer I was looking for, so I ignored it and I forced a solution and walked out. And I was immediately consumed with guilt and self doubt. Had I made the worst mistake of my life? I still loved this person so much. And though I was deeply troubled, I wasn't convinced that leaving was the answer. I had to admit that I had acted prematurely. Only with more time was I eventually able to come to the decision that I knew I could live with. Today's reminder: when my thinking becomes distorted by trying to force solutions, I probably won't get the results I seek. As the saying goes, when in doubt, don't. Here's the quote: guide me in all I do to remember that waiting is the answer to some of my prayers. And that's from a book called As We Understood. So when we pray, the answer's yes, no, or wait. So what I find in people in the Al-Anon side of the 12 steps is incredibly impatient. They've had it, had it, had it. They want solutions. They want them now. They wanted them a decade ago or whatever, fill in the blank. Fix the problem, Um, but what I've learned in my life is that the only thing that I have worth giving to my fellow man is patience. That's it. That's all I've got that, I think is worth anything. It's patience. Of course, we come to the end of the line, and that's why there's this thing called divorce. But patience is such a beautiful thing. Um, and it needs to go both ways, and there needs to be an understanding that everyone has their limits. So yeah, keep praying and God will guide you and it'll be clear. It won't be fuzzy or blurry or vague. Um, and you'll be ready to act on that direction. I hope this blesses you. And yeah, I hope you have it in you to extend patience to everyone around you today, and most of all, to yourself.